You know, I've stressed over and over again on this show, the supply of oil here in America is growing by leaps and bounds. I love pointing the good ones out to you. Take Newfield Exploration, NFX. That's a $4 billion independent oil and gas name that gets 40% of its production from crude, 43% from natural gas, 17% from nat gas liquids. Now, Newfield has been doing something very smart. They've been selling off their international assets and using that money to fund drilling in 4 major domestic plays: the Anadarko Basin, the Uinta Basin, as well as the Bakken Shale and the Eagle Ford Shale, the latter two being just a gigantic finds we talk about all the time. For example, back in October, Newfield sold its Malaysian holdings for $900 million, and the company's in the process of selling their Chinese assets. By pouring that money back into these hot domestic plays, Newfield expects that it can grow its domestic liquids production by 31% this year. Newfield reported a month ago, and the numbers were, let's just say, excellent. Company expects their Anadarko Basin production to double from last year, and they're forecasting 40% production growth in the Bakken, 30% growth in the Eagle Ford. Over the last year, the company has raised its production guidance while also becoming a more efficient operator, drilling wells more cheaply, increasing its reserves. I recommended this stock almost a year ago, and since then it's given you a 35% gain. I think the upside could be far from over. So let's check in with Lee Boothby. He's the chairman and CEO of Newfield Exploration. Find out more about his company's prospects. Mr. Boothby, welcome to Mad Money.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
All right, sir, we were on an oil rig just 2 weeks ago. It was in the Gulf of Mexico. And one of the executives there said, you know what, a company like an Exxon, they got to go to Malaysia, they got to go to Indonesia, they got to go to China to find really cheap oil, but we're going to take American oil and make money. You did the unthinkable maybe even 10 years ago. You sold Malaysia. Talk about the mindset that made it so Malaysia wasn't as good as America.
Well, Jim, for us, the exit from international has been a strategic decision to refocus on what's an incredible story here in North America and the U.S., first with natural gas and today with oil. I think the opportunities we see tell us that there's an exciting time ahead. We call it back to the future. Back to the future right here in the U.S. And I think the oil story and the ability to take the proceeds from international and port back into high return investments here in the U.S. is just too good to pass up.
Okay, well, let's talk about the back to the future. You are drilling in areas that I think that people felt were peak. You're the first person I've had on that is saying that the Anadarko turns out to have a lot more oil left in it.
Well, Jim, that's a neat thing. 30 plus years ago, when some of us that been around that long were coming out of school into the industry, the rocks that we're pursuing today are typically considered source and or seal. And technology, the horizontal drilling, entrepreneurship and risk-taking, I guess, the story of, capitalism here in the U.S. have really given us this great gift of energy. And I think it's the greatest energy gift for certain in our lifetimes and probably in the last 100 years.
Are you able to get all the oil that you have to market? A lot of people are talking about this bottleneck that gives you a discount to the discount of West Texas. How are you doing in terms of getting it to where it needs to be refined?
Well, I would tell you that varies by area. I can't say that we've had any specific bottleneck issues within our portfolio. We're focused in 4 key areas, as you indicated. Scoop and stack the Anadarko Basin there in Oklahoma. We've been able to move our product. Clearly, you have to plan ahead. You've got to have gathering and transportation agreements in place. Typically, in each of these plays, you'll go through some short-term bottlenecks, but the industry, upstream, midstream, downstream, tends to work through those, and it's good. I think one of the things we've got in our portfolio that we like, we call optionality, is we can shift capital and human resources between projects as things develop. Whether you're chasing the higher returns, if you had a bottleneck in one area, we could shift activity into another area to take advantage of it and continue to execute on our plan.
Will you be plowing back the Chinese money when you sell that right back into these properties again?
Yeah, China, we're looking to get resolution on China in 2014. China represents the last of our international portfolio. We expect to get that resolution in 2014. On the back end of that, we'll be 100% onshore North American resource play focused. Presently, our product preference has been oil. It's been that way since 2009. We think it's the preferred commodity today, and we built a strong inventory of opportunities in our portfolio, and it's good to see that paying off. I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting for the industry, the nation, reshape, the whole economic dynamic, and I think it's an exciting job creation vehicle as well for our young people, and I think it's a career that people can take a second look at today And I'm happy to see enrollments going up across the nation in science and geoscience engineering disciplines that we need to feed the industry.
I was going to ask you about Utland and Wasatch, but I got to stop with what you just said, which is just tell us, there are people who are watching. I know people this weekend I talked about it with. Do they call Newfield? What do you do? I mean, who do they call to get a job? Because there's not a lot of jobs where we are, and I know that they want your jobs.
Well, I would tell you, Jim, that the industry's got a lot of outreach programs. There are a lot of executives that I know that serve on advisory boards at universities. I think that that's a step that a lot of universities are taking. I know a lot of the young people, young professionals coming in are investing time in elementary schools and high schools to tell the story. Clearly, it's an education process. I think folks like you can help. It's an exciting, high-tech industry, and its best days are ahead. And I think it can drive, the economy here in the U.S. over the course of the next 100 years. You care about your kids and grandkids. This is a place to be, and it's a super highway to the future as far as I'm concerned.
Couldn't agree more, Lee Boothby. You have done a remarkable job. He's the chairman, president, and CEO of Newfield Exploration. Thank you so much, Lee.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, guys, this is had a very big move, but I don't think it's done. It's just a re-rating of a story that people weren't that interested in that are now getting very interested. I like Newfield Exploration. Stay with Cramer.